Hey, this is Kaja Elliott, Bronx born and raised, ATL made, Bay Area becoming, and this is the As Told By podcast. What's up? Episode 3 of the As Told By podcast. It's me, I'm back, Kaja, with my third episode, and I have a guest today. Y'all know, so every season I plan to do a food episode. This season there could be 2 food episodes, but we have our first one today. Might be one of one, but we have our food episode today. Y'all know that I love patronizing Black businesses, Black culinary talent, and pop-ups specifically. And per usual, this pop-up came across my IG feed, just scrolling around and seeing what's up. And I decided to drive out and check them out. And I'm glad I did, because now I'm hooked on the food. So I was like, hey, you should let me interview you for the pod. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Go right ahead.
Hello. I'm Dontaye Ball, a.k.a. Mr. Gumbo, chef and owner of Gumbo Social. Yep.
Have y'all had Gumbo Social yet? If you haven't, you should.
They need to get a bowl. I feel like I need some gumbo right now.
Yeah, look, we could all use gumbo at all times.
Yeah.
Plus, because he's not just doing gumbo, but we'll get into some of the other things that he's doing. But I found you at, is it Outer Sunset Mercantile Market?
Yep.
In SF?
That's the one. That's like home base right now. Outer Sunset Farmers Market. I always tell people, Outer Sunset Farmers Market, we're there from 9 to 3. Don't come at 3, because
you get crumbs.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Yes.
It's going to be a problem for you, not for me.
You'll be cleaning up at that time, so you'll be done.
I'm going to say deuces. I'm going to be nice, though.
But you out.
I'm out.
All right. So let's jump into it. I know that you are a professionally trained chef. What's your background?
I am. You know, oddly enough, people be, they don't be knowing. I started cooking when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
I lied and told those guys I was 15. So I got my first dishwashing job when I was working in a senior citizens home. Mm-hmm. One of the best experiences ever, like when you're a young person, to serve people that are older than you, because you don't think about it then, but like as you get to my age, you're like, damn, I'm going to get old one day.
Yeah.
If you look like me, then, you may not get old, but we're getting a little bit older these days. So started there with the culinary school, City College, City in the House. Got to drop that in there. City College, San Francisco. And graduated there, spent 3 months in France, traveling through France, eating my way through France.
Mm-hmm. What part of France? So
we started in Paris, and we worked our way to Épernay, the Champagne region. We did Lyon, Alsace, which is incredible. It's like right there on that border of Germany. Mm-hmm. So it's really unique because, you have to think this town is right there on the border. Many wars have happened. And so it's one of the only regions in France where the wine can be described by the grape varietal.
Yes.
Versus the region. Mm-hmm. So Alsatian wines can be Rieslings, Gewürztramинers. They're big on the whites. They have like one, I think they do like a Pinot as well, but it's the only region in France, because when they were creating the labeling restrictions, that part Alsace was a part of Germany, and so yeah.
Are we getting a history lesson? Are we getting a geography lesson?
Sounds like Sunday night dinner all over again.
Okay, well listen, don't give it all up, because we're gonna get to Sunday night dinner, but I appreciate you giving us a little bit of perspective that, no shade to people who just kind of organically fall into a culinary career on their own, but you have done your due diligence in putting your time.
Definitely. I always tell people, like, I remember like being in middle school and high school, I was like, yeah, the only thing I want to do is cook some stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I didn't really realize is, like, I was more of an entrepreneur than anything. Mm-hmm. I think the food has always been the vehicle for the entrepreneur component.
Got it.
For me. And so Did after culinary school, I had a great opportunity to be an extern at Delfina restaurant. Shout out to them. 20 years strong for them. And at that restaurant, I learned like the best like life values. I feel like working there kind of changed my perspective as a human.
Okay.
The way that I remember the first time I ate there. That made me fall in love with it. Me and my girlfriend were there, and the first dish we got was like this crostini, chicken liver crostini.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never had nothing like that before. I take a bite and I look at her. I was like, I'm gonna fucking work here. And she's like,
the restaurant food was so good that you said, I'm gonna get a job here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm about to fucking work here. I remember the server. And we ended up becoming really good friends. His name is Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, could you bring the chef over?
Yeah. Chef
comes out. And at this time, the chef's chef and owner's still working in the restaurant. This is before they're this mega huge Bay Area brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, I'm doing my externship in 2 semesters in culinary school. Could I come here and work? He was like, yeah. And then, trying to do my externship. And I was like, I pull up. I'm like, chef, you remember me? He's like, yeah. He's like, when you starting? So I remember I was only supposed to come 2 days a week. And
you turned that into a whole thing.
Yeah, I was there every day.
Yeah.
I acted like I worked there. I was like, if I'm going to get a job, I need to fucking act like I work here.
Act like you work there. You manifest. Well, that's what they would call it today. You manifested it.
Not thinking. I was doing the work.
Oh, you did the Suge Knight tactic. I'm just going to show up here till y'all put me on payroll.
Yeah.
Okay. That works too.
I call it the Les Brown effect. Les Brown's you got to keep showing up until they just get you escorted out by the police.
Well, glad that didn't happen. It turned into an employment opportunity, which turned into all this. And I heard you shout out City College. You're originally from SF? I
am, believe it or not.
Okay. Do people from San Francisco call it SF?
We call it the city.
Okay.
The Yay. Well, that's more, that income is more in the Bay Area, but it's the city.
It's the city.
The SCO. We got some names.
Yeah, you got
some names.
The SCO is a new one.
I'm dating myself by saying the SCO.
But that's okay. Date yourself because you've done something with the years you've been here. Gumbo is such a freestyle dish. There's so many iterations of it. When you initially came up with your signature menu item, how much of that relied on your formal culinary training, and how much of that was you just freestyling?
I think it was a combination of both. It's interesting. When you're working somewhere, you're cooking, as they will say, their food.
Mm.
But it's not really true. Yeah, you're cooking another chef's food, but you're learning the technique and the thought process. And so, it was a combination of formal training, understanding why I cut something a certain way. Mm-hmm. And how that's going to affect the dish, or how the way that I cut the sausage, or the way people love the way. A lot of people don't like okra, but there's okra in my gumbo, but they don't really realize that it's there because it's cut so thin.
Okay.
Right.
Can we pull up there for just one quick second?
Uh-huh.
I have had more gumbo-less bowls, okra-less bowls of gumbo, and I'm like, where is the okra? Okra goes in gumbo.
It's a must.
So I'm so glad that you put it in there. Not that the gumbo I had was bad, but I just was accustomed. My family is from the Low Country, so I was accustomed to gumbo with okra in it.
Yeah.
When did we get out of that? I didn't know if that was a West Coast thing or what the deal was with that.
That's a preference thing.
Okay.
And a lack of knowledge thing.
Okay.
And people saying, well, I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it.
Oh.
And, we gotta
get back to the basics.
We gotta do what's right. We have our preferences, right? And so
yes.
But yeah, gumbo can't be gumbo without okra unless you can give me a really good reason why.
Mm-hmm.
Okra needs to be there, and I'm not trying to hide the okra.
Mm-hmm.
I just like it. We take it. The okra's a whole process. So we get the fresh okra in. I try to use. I have a farmer. Shout out to Hers Farm down in Fresno. Last year they planted a whole row of okra just for me.
Oh, okay.
So I got like my own okra now.
Yes, farming relationship.
You know,
That's when you're official.
Those my folks.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, we get the okra. I do what's called a triple wash. So I got a 3-compartment sink. It goes in the first time with salt. We take it out of that water and we hit it again. And it's interesting, without even breaking the okra, that water gets like some of that, like that. I don't like to use the word slime, but some of that viscosity from the okra kind of comes out in the water. Okay. And then we hit it again in the third wash, and after that we take it, slice it. We hit it with a little bit of salt, pepper, and oil, and we blast it at 500 degrees to get it roasted. And what that does is it pulls out some of the okra seeds, is which makes the okra the gumbo thick. What that does is we kind of pull out some of that viscosity from the okra.
Got it.
So it's not super viscous.
Got it. This is clearly this is the episode for food nerds. So if you're not a food nerd, I don't know if you're tuning into this or tuning out of it, but learn something. I love these kinds of conversations. This is definitely where I live. You have cooked. We've talked about the fact you've cooked in a lot of different environments, including for the tech companies. So, tech companies, there's no short supply of food, high quality food, cafes, 6, 7, 8 cafes on larger campuses. So you've cooked in those spaces. As a chef, how much input and creativity do you think chefs get to express when they work in those environments?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think it depends on the tech company. It depends on the tech company. And I think it depends. So I have a whole theory about this. So when I worked at a tech company, or I worked for a tech company at a point where they just went IPO, the money was flowing. So there's a well-known company, and this is well documented. People can look it up for themselves. I'm not going to shout them out. And I appreciate them for this. When they went IPO, everyone in the company went IPO. They got shares.
Yeah.
So the janitors that were contractors, the chefs that were contractors, everybody in their mama who was there
got shares.
Got some equity.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So that particular company was feeding a lot of people, and the budget was insane. Because the idea is, well, let's keep people on campus. Let's create these events and these fun things.
Trap.
Right? Like
trap you with the food.
It's the trap. It's the trap. It's like the club.
They trap you with the food.
It's like fellas go to the club because the honeys are going to be there. Okay. And most of the guys are buying the drinks, so it's a win-win situation. So, it depends on where the company's at. And so if a part of their culture is, hey, we want really good food, I'll use another term. We want really yummy food.
Okay.
We want yummy food. Then they're going to pay for that.
Right.
And then at that point, I can write amazing menus.
And kind of just be let free to do what you want.
Let loose.
Okay.
But when you have companies to say, well, we need to, we got these shareholders and we got too much going out the door, because a lot of it too is sometimes you get so big, there's a lot of kind of waste.
There is a lot of waste.
You know what I mean?
In those large environments. And it seems to, well, first of all, let me say, I have had some of my best meals at work, like restaurant quality meals. But I always would think, who decided that we were having creamed radicchio today? Like, who came up with that? And then I think, well, when you have all of these people who are vegan and pescatarian and vegetarian and food allergies and gluten-free, how do you get to any kind of level of a menu that you can put in front of people? Because you're playing to so many different audiences.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good. I don't know about cream. Someone really wrote that on the menu.
We had it.
That sounds terrible.
We had. I don't know why I remember this. Shame on me, but no shame. It was red wine braised brisket.
Yep.
And it was creamed radicchio, and then there was some kind of like farro with it. But I mean, I'm like, this is restaurant quality food that I'm pulling. Thank goodness, I'm pulling up to work to eat for free, just on any given Tuesday.
Yeah, it is interesting, right? It's free, but it's not really free.
Oh, for who?
For anyone who works there. Just think about how we spend our time, right? If I spend 8 hours at a place, and this is an interesting conversation. Like, I love the components of. I think all people should own their own business as their brand, as who they are as a human, and then also work for someone. Work for someone to gain that experience. So if I spend 8 hours, so the average time I will spend at a place, 8 hours. Okay, that's about the average amount of time most of us spend at a place. But if I'm on campus at a campus for 10 hours or 12 hours, or because I can get my laundry done or this done or that done there, I'm spending more of my actual time at that place. So I'm kind of giving more there than outside of my life. So I'm kind of paying for it with my time. That's my theory.
Yes. Well, yes, and right. That is absolutely correct. And I do see a lot of people, I don't want to say fall victim to that, but I do see a lot of people fall into that paradigm almost exactly. I think the longer you are in the workforce, you know how to get yours and get out.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I love people who are super efficient. I actually pay more for efficiency.
Yeah.
So if you can come in and kill it, what you need?
Hey,
I got you.
Eat in between meetings, wash your clothes in between meetings, and be out by 3:30.
I do want to ask about the cream radicchio.
Yes, it was so good.
I'm skeptical because
it was like grilled, and then it was in a cream sauce. It was like Parmesan. It was really good.
Okay, I could see that. I love radicchio. Like people don't give the chicory family enough respect.
Hey. In case you want to recreate it, don't let me stop you.
I got a cream of kale dish that's fire.
Okay. Well, cream
my ex-girlfriend who I would not take a call from.
Oh, shit.
She's
Sorry, girl.
Permanently blocked.
No more cream kale?
She knows who she loves that dish.
Oh.
But it's a good dish. It's a good dish. I may bring that back. But chicories don't get enough respect. They're bitter and people don't know how to use them, but they're really good. They're good for you. Okay. Black people, we chicory root coffee.
And beignets. Those go together. All right. Sorry, ex-girlfriend, but if we get cream kale, we'll pour a little out for you. So, now that you are in your entrepreneurial bag, you have creative autonomy to do this, basically the way you want to do it. And I see you take that autonomy into your home on Sunday nights. You mentioned Sunday Night Dinner, which is an online series that you're doing. How did you start that? A two-part question. Number one, how did you start it? Well, a three-part question. How did you start? How do you enjoy it? And then you mentioned that in addition to it being like a teaching time or showing time for people to kind of walk through the A to Z of a dinner with you, that is also family time, because I see your sons in the background. I think you have twin sons?
Yep.
Yeah. So talk about how Sunday Night Dinner started and how it's going.
Got it. I have a question for you first.
Yes.
Can I cook for you?
Hell yes.
There we go.
Listen, this is an as told by first. If you come with food, that is a bribe I will take. If you want to be interviewed on this podcast, come with your pots. If your pots are popping,
right,
you'll be up here.
That's how I like to start off the dinners. I either start off by saying Sunday night dinner, y'all, or can I cook for you? That, to me, that's, it reminds me of for one, to serve people is like, to me, the highest honor, right?
Mm-hmm.
To serve someone and to see their reaction, it means a lot. I feel like culturally we're moved out of this space where I ain't serving nobody kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, we need to kind of get back to that. At least I'm getting back to that. So I think that's important. So Sunday night dinners, it started with kind of that idea of the traditional Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
I remember my grandmother telling me a story. My grandmother's from Mississippi. Telling me a story where, she was like, yeah, on Sundays we'll have the pastor come over. My grandmother, God rest her soul, fire, right? She's, amazing.
Yeah.
No one's messing with my grandmother in the kitchen.
What's her specialty?
Maybe like Edna Lewis,
Ooh,
God
that's
rest
a
her
good
soul
one.
as well. She's probably got hands over my grandmother. And maybe Leah Chase. But after that, Grandma's is up there.
Well, if Grandma could stand up there with Edna and Edna Lewis and Leah Chase, Grandma got it.
Yeah, some of the greats. James Beard Award-winning Black women chefs there, right?
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, you were saying something.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Perfect.
You were telling me about Sunday night dinner.
Got it. And that's Grandma will call it supper as well.
Okay.
So she was saying, like, pastor will come over, they'll kill the chicken, right? And you got to think, like, back in those days, we weren't frying chicken every day. Like, my grandmother grew up on a farm. Their diet was a lot of vegetable-based stuff because they were on a farm. So they would, do some fried chicken for the pastor. She would say that, the pastor always wanted the breast, the biggest piece of the chicken. I don't know why people like chicken breasts.
I don't like it.
It's terrible.
Unless we're at Chick-fil-A.
No judgment.
Okay.
But that's kind of how that started. That's how that started.
We got a dark meat committee in here, evidently.
For sure. So that idea started, back in the day, my grandmother used to do these like candlelight dinners. Like it was like me, my sister, my mom, and her.
Oh, nice.
And it was just the best time ever, right? And so, I have kids, and when we were all together as a family, I would invite my sister and her family over, and my mom, and we would use it as an opportunity just to kind of get together with folks. And you never know who's going to, it used to be Monday night dinners.
Oh.
And you never knew who was going to show up. And so, I remember like my younger sister teacher coming over, like Mr. Proctor come through and, have dinner with us.
Yep.
And figure out why my sister ain't getting her life together in school. And so it was an opportunity for people to kind of get together and cook and talk and do all that stuff. Monday night dinners kind of went away for a while as, people move away and stuff like that. And when the pandemic hit, your boy needed something to do.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have no job. All of the chefs became, we had to become something else. We were carpenters and
wow,
whatever, right? Trying to scrape by.
Yeah.
And so I just started just doing a little bit of stuff on Instagram here and there. And, I was like, we need to really start highlighting the great farmers and makers that are at these farmers markets. I'm already buying this stuff anyway. I might as well just kind of show it off.
Yep.
And so that was kind of the push of it. Do I like it? I love it. I look forward to it. And I remember when I didn't do it for a week, someone like DM'd me like, hey, I've been going through depression and, the Sunday night dinner, I can't cook. So the Sunday night dinner is the thing that I look forward to. It's almost like watching my favorite YouTube show that's live or watching a show that comes on just once a week. And the cool thing about it is it's all on the Instagram stories.
Yep.
So you have to really be intentional about coming to the stories.
You got to catch it in that 24-hour period.
Yeah, or it's gone.
Yep.
I may tease you here and there with some stuff, but yeah.
I like it. It always feels for me, because I like this kind of thing, like a teaching element. I know you are doing things with sous vide. I take notice of the pans you use when you cook. Do chefs not cook with nonstick cookware? Am I the only person still using that?
Is that a real question?
Yes, a real question. Yes.
It depends on where you're working at. Listen, I'm not going to tell you how I got those all-clad pots
Okay.
and pans.
All right. It's a
Someone, a tech company paid for those.
Oh, okay.
For me.
Well, then fine. They got it.
/ hey, it's my last day.
Hey, pull up.
Would Denzel say? Yeah, I'm taking something with me. But I didn't say that to them, Anyway,
Hey.
I think, I got some non-sticks at home.
Okay.
But I use them for like particular things, but.
Got it.
Yeah.
I do a lot of shopping for kitchen appliances, gadgets, needs. I do. You know where I do a lot of my kitchen shopping?
Where?
Just not to take us off topic, but to me, the best place people are not shopping, QVC. I get a lot of I got my Vitamix there. I got my stand mixer there. I got a whole line of non-stick cast iron cookware. I got a safety mandolin there, so I don't have to worry about slicing my fingers when I'm trying to make potato chips.
Right.
Yes. But then I notice when people are cooking professionally, like on Sunday night dinner, they are not using non-stick cookware. So I didn't know. Maybe I'm behind the times. I need to step it up.
You use whatever you got to use to get the job done.
Okay. Use what works.
That's it.
All
right.
There's
so the Sunday night dinner, like someone kind of commented the other day, it was like, bruh, like I saw a spot on your stove. I'm like, some tomato, man? Like, it's organic. Like, I'm not serving this food to you, so relax.
Somebody said what?
Someone's like, oh, there was a spot of something on your stove. You gonna come clean it up? This is a free show. Like,
people
fall back a little bit.
I am trying to do a service.
Right. Are you going to use gloves in that plating? No, I'm not.
Oh.
No. First of all, no. If people get in I will go in on people in the comments.
You go back and forth with them in the comments?
In the nicest way ever.
Don't do that.
Very kind.
Okay.
I'll hit you with the God bless you hands.
Oh, okay.
The sideways smile. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. I'm gonna let the people in the comments.
Yeah, but I love it. So,
ride out.
And the coolest part about it is, my sons are like low key foodies, and like so, the part that people miss on the Sunday night dinners is Monday morning when they're in there cooking like leftovers and making their own little creations.
Nice.
And like, Dad, what do you think? I'm like, I look at them. I'm like, bro, did you use all the eggs?
Because they're just in there making it up as they go along. Yeah. But, you have sons. What does it mean to you to be bringing them along on your culinary journey? And are they expressing their own interest in maybe having their own journey?
Yeah, that's another really good question. Teenagers are tough. You don't really know what they're thinking. I ask a lot of questions, and I'm like, what do y'all think? And they're like, or yeah, or it's weird. Like, one day I get one answer, another day I get another answer. Mm-hmm. I think they're what I'm doing is setting I think a good example of how to be a good human being.
Okay.
And I think that's gonna really that's been cascading over them on how to just kind of conduct themselves the right way.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to them expressing like culinary, stuff. I don't know. I think my one of the fellas, they're like, nah, I wouldn't want to do this professionally.
Okay.
Because I think they see like, it's a lot of work. And I think Dontaye Jr. may want to do something, but I don't really push them to it. I say, look, gain a bunch of skills and then figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to that point, it's good for them to be able to get visibility to a career path in order to determine, yeah, this is something I want to do, or I kind of see the time and the effort that it's taking for you to be successful at it. And maybe, that's just not where I want to use my time and energy. And I think to that point, a lot of times we don't really talk about the dark side of entrepreneurship or the harder side. The times where you're just pivoting from one thing to another with, not a lot of backing and really just your own self-belief. So, looking where you are now or standing where you are now, was there ever a time where you felt like what's happening now would not happen for you?
It'd be tough. It'd be tough. Like, yeah, there are days where I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, fuck this. I'm about to go get a regular job. And then a part of it is, even with the success, I'm like, man, this is like, my feet hurt, my knees hurt, this hurt or that hurt. But when I think about it on the grand scheme, the smile, like I've been able to watch families grow up. I see people every week. People look forward to seeing me. And that's like really the thing that kind of keeps me going. It's really like, I tell people all the time, man, fuck this money shit. Like, this ain't coming with me. But the opportunity and the joy when someone enjoys your product, like that is the most special shit ever.
I've had that joy.
Like you look at like when, and I'm talking about when someone's being really genuine.
Yeah. Right.
When you can see someone indulging in something that you created and all. Yeah, I don't. It's hard to explain it. Because when I look at people enjoying the gumbo, I get a little jealous. So yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I always say that if Gumbo was a woman, her and I would be married. So in my mind, they're taking my love. But I want to share that love.
You're selling your love. No, I'm joking.
Right? But I want to share that love with the world. Yeah. I got gumboisms all day long.
Oh, okay. Look, well, give us a few. I have not heard of gumboisms. That's new on me.
Yeah. I got you right now. I just gumbolized you. You've been gumbolized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gumbolized.
Yeah. See, you see the way that your face lit up when you said gumbo? Uh-huh. It changed.
How could it not?
It's a smile there. You've been gumbolized.
Hey.
Yeah.
And it was good. I've had the food. Okay, so I've had the gumbo. I've had the red beans and rice with, was it smoked or roasted duck?
Roasted duck.
Roasted duck.
It's actually a duck confit.
Oh, excuse me,
but I just like, yeah.
He did say he was in France.
I make it simple. That?
It was so good. I'm a big fan of red beans and rice, gourmet all the way down to Popeyes. It was really good. I would not put you on par with Popeyes.
No. I thought I was the only person like Popeyes red beans and rice.
Listen, no. I love Popeyes red beans and rice and also their Cajun rice, which they just recently brought back.
I saw that.
You saw that, right?
I see that it like, I low-key feel like there's something wrong with me when I'm like, hey, can I get a little red beans and rice from Popeyes, please? I know it's wrong.
Ain't nothing wrong with
that.
But
I like it. I'm like, all right, whatever.
So no wrong is right.
No judgment.
Good stuff. No, but I have had the gumbo. I have had the red beans and rice. What I have not had, which I will be trying next, is the breakfast sandwich.
Breakfast sandwich is fire.
That's what I heard.
It is the cure to all hangovers.
Oh, I don't do hangovers.
Yeah.
But I will still have a sandwich.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, look, oh my God, it's so much there. So much to unpack. I have a whole nother thing called the brunch slut.
What?
The brunch slut.
Okay. Tell me about the brunch slut. I didn't know that.
I'm cooking brunch, and I'm the slut. So a friend of mine, she came to the farmer's market one time, right?
Okay.
Her name is Virgie. Uh-huh. And she was like, yeah, I really need like a slutty breakfast sandwich. And she orders a breakfast sandwich, and she like comes back. Like, the grill is at the back, so people can kind of come and talk to you. Mm-hmm. She comes back, and like she's at like 4 bites out of the sandwich. There's like the egg is like dripping off the side of her mouth. She's like, "Oh my God, this breakfast sandwich is so slutty." And I was like, "Oh,
that's a descriptor.
I like that."
Okay.
So I was like, if Pinky can do slutty vegan, why can't I do the brunch slut?
Well, where is it? Where does this happen and when?
Yeah. So we have 5 different breakfast sandwiches. Mm-hmm. And it's just every sandwich is just fire.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of low key right now, but I blew the smoke a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he told us.
We were talking about the breakfast sandwich though. So that sandwich to me is like the reason why I came up with it. We're doing this farmers market. We open at 9. Mm-hmm. And I like looked to my brother was helping me for like a week or two, and I was like, bro, don't nobody want no gumbo at 9 o'clock. I was wrong. First of all, when we don't have gumbo like right on time, people are upset.
Yeah.
People do want gumbo at 9 in the morning.
Okay.
I'm wrong about that, especially during football season. But But the breakfast sandwich came about because all of the farmers they get at the market at like 6.
Okay.
To start setting up, and I roll in at 8.
Okay.
8:30. Got to be there by 8:30. I'll be pushing it. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Chef, we're hungry, man. What you got to eat?" Like, I don't want no gumbo, man. I need some breakfast. And so that's how I started doing the breakfast sandwich. Okay. It was really for the farmers.
Meeting market needs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to get one of these sandwiches. I see them online. There's pork belly, one of them?
Pork belly breakfast sandwich?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the one that's on my radar.
Pork belly, tomato jam, pickled red onions.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a lot happening.
That is a lot happening. All in a good way.
Oh yeah.
I
Brioche.
just have to
brioche bun.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. Get your workout on before.
Okay. And after.
And after.
I just have to make my way to Outer Sunset.
But there's a reason why, like, even going back to the red beans, mm-hmm. There's a reason why I don't make it like the traditional red beans.
Why?
Well, a couple of things. If you look at my menu on a constant basis, there's something for everybody. So if you're vegan, there's a California greens.
The greens are really good. If
you are gluten-free, we got something for you.
Okay.
If you don't eat pork, we got something for you. There's
in addition to my condolences. Yes.
Right. But there's something for everybody. And so the red beans is one of those dishes. My grandfather was big on like wild game.
Okay.
Deer, elk, alligator. You know, he said he ate rattlesnake one time. I don't believe him, but
I've heard of that.
You know.
Yeah.
So to me it was like kind of the red beans is really an homage to him. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, what can I do that's a little bit different, but pay my respects to him. And so adding the duck in there is kind of that contribution. The other piece to it is, since the duck is there and it's so flavorful, I don't have to put any pork.
Okay.
So you don't miss the sausage in that red beans and rice.
No, you don't.
It's got the flavor. It's its own thing. It's mm-hmm. unique. It's that red beans is uniquely different from any other red beans you've had.
It definitely was different, and it was really good.
Yeah. So
really
there's some logic to the madness.
You're not just in there throwing things in a pot.
Nah.
But you just recently had a really nice write-up. Congrats in SF Chronicle.
Thank you.
No, just regular old. Whoever writing the article, Soleil Ho.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, ask about her.
She the homie.
She puts a check mark next to your food in the Bay Area. That's a check mark you want to have. So how does it feel to start getting this level of recognition for what you've been doing?
It's incredible, but it's really scary at the same time. Because I know, like, when people start saying a lot of good stuff about you, mm-hmm. some haters come after that.
Yeah. So,
I was prepared to, like, I jumped on the comments. Like, people were in the comments, like, this man's putting pork belly in gumbo. I'm like, no, go back and read the article and then come back. Like, if you can't read, that's not my problem. That's not what the article said. The article said it's an add-on. So go back and read it and then come back. If you want to talk shit, you got to know your facts.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one making it. So I'm gonna hit you every time with it. But the haters, I actually enjoy the haters.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes me know. Like, I think criticism is a good thing. So.
Well, criticism and hating are two different things.
Yeah. You're right about that.
Yeah.
You're right about that. But I like the hater. You gotta have some trolls, right? So just let them live.
All right.
Let them live.
Hey, haters.
Say high five to them.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel really good. I think the article, like I told a friend of mine the other day, the article in itself, like I read it like 3 or 4 times, and I really feel like this level of writing wouldn't have happened for a regular, smuggler, street food guy, non-traditional non-brick and mortar person 10 and 15 years ago in the Chronicle.
Yeah.
Right? And I think about how important that is. I don't take this, to me it's an honor. I don't take this lightly. Because I can remember working at places where, Michael Bauer was coming into, and I could remember how much pressure and intense that was if the place I worked at didn't get a 3-star or 2-star review.
Yeah.
I can remember people being fired. I can remember, the shout matches in the walk-in and just all those different things. And I'm like, read just even just the like she's a James Beard award-winning writer. To even have someone speak about my food in that way, to me, means a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was a win for the street food community and the farmers market community.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, even though the article was about me, it's really for all of us. For the different vendors that are out here doing the work, loading the trucks, loading the food trucks, doing the festivals, putting in the gazillion hours and, maybe making money and maybe not, who are making artisan food, who are sacrificing relationships with their girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, or kids, and like that's for all of us to enjoy.
Yeah.
And then it's also for the community of Black folk, where when I go out and I sell my product, I'm representing myself, I'm representing my family, and I'm really representing and trying to bring attention to a higher level of service and food quality when it comes to Black entrepreneurs. And so that article, I think, it means so much to not just me, my family, my business. It means a lot to a lot of different communities.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So many people who cook in the format that you do at farmers markets, and they make artisan products. I'll stop short of calling it the COVID effect, but when people were essentially driven into the streets, literally, to have their dining experiences, it just seems to have ignited something around this pop-up structure. Yeah. There's so much good food to be had outside of traditional brick and mortar establishments. I had oysters Rockefeller at the farmers market yesterday.
I saw that.
And they were so good. And there was Cuban food, and there was lamb and Mediterranean food. And even when I came the first time to Outer Sunset Market, and I had the red beans and rice, I had the gumbo, and I also had these really good Korean dumplings. I don't know I think they were Korean.
The Japanese dumplings.
Soul bowl?
Oh, no, you're right. I'm wrong.
They were so good.
Yeah, and a little broth they got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I know it's nice to go sit down in a beautiful establishment. I'm actually going to Chez Panisse today for my first time ever.
Congratulations.
I'm so excited.
Are you going dining room or cafe?
I'm going to the cafe. So if you heard in season 1, I interviewed the Comfort Collective, and they are doing a pop-up because they had came up through Chez Panisse.
Shout out to them.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
They're amazing. But they're doing kind of like a homecoming pop-up, a curated dinner tonight at Chez Panisse. So I will be there. It is my first time at Chez Panisse.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to go.
It's crazy. Like I've never worked there, but I worked under chefs that worked there, and I feel like Hi Felicia, she was there for a while, and
I can't get a reservation.
She's doing some incredible stuff. And, shout out to folks that when I started cooking, it was me and maybe one other person that was black in the kitchen.
Yeah, this
right?
is what I've heard.
And now, in mind you, I'm like not bringing the hood in the kitchen.
Why not?
Because I started cooking.
I'm just an advocate for bringing hood into inappropriate spaces.
Like 2001, 2002.
Okay.
And it's like the attitude is show up early, leave late.
Okay.
Yes, chef. No, chef. Right away, chef.
Mm-hmm.
And I carry some of that mindset now without the abusiveness.
Yeah.
And, I can remember, like, I'm like, what's up? Can I put some Mac Dre on the radio? Mm-hmm. We all got to turn on the aux cord. Back then it was the aux cord in the iPad. What do you call that the i thingy?
iPod.
The iPod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we dating ourselves for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little
I
iPod.
I had an iPod Nano. Little purple one. Okay.
Little, right? I'm like, can we put some Mac Dre on?
Yeah. Okay.
And it was like, nah, bro, we not doing that. Mm-mm. And so I'm happy to see that other people is able to express themselves and who they are.
Yeah.
I was never in that space because I was always focused on the work.
Yes.
So I need to bring, because I always felt like I'm from the hood.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to show a higher level of professionalism. I need to come in here looking right. I got to come in groomed, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it reminds me of like when I'm the only black person in the kitchen, it reminds me of that Kanye song, Spaceships.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're being showed off.
Put out your token, Blackie.
Right.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah, he mentioned quickly Hi Felicia. This is another person on my radar. Another pop-up. And they're not even popping up anymore. They have brick and mortar.
Got a whole place now.
There's a whole place. It's very hard to get a reservation for one. 2, I could have gotten 2 or more, but 1, I'm waitlisted. So I'm waiting to get into Hi Felicia.
You need some eating friends.
Let me tell you something. We're going to definitely parallel park on this. I need some eating friends. Shout out. I mentioned her in episode 2. I'm mentioning her again. Look, you ain't going to get on every episode, girl, but it's relevant. My friend Tola is my food friend, but I met her here, but she's moved back to Philadelphia where her family is. And that was my food friend, where we would go to high-end restaurants and blow all kind of money and order damn near the whole menu.
Yeah.
And I have wonderful friends here, but they're not that friend.
Right.
I need food friends.
That's why I work so much, I don't get a chance to go out like I like to.
Yeah.
But like when I go on dates, I'm like, yeah. Like people love going on dates with me because I'm like, we ordering the menu.
Order the menu.
And like, why so much food? I'm like, why not?
You get to try everything.
Yeah, we try everything. And then the chefs are like, hey, are you the... That's me. And so they bring out
they know you now.
people, well, they knew me before.
Okay.
So they be like, oh, that's yeah, bring out the special thingy.
Yeah.
And it's always a little... And people are like, oh, my God, you're famous. And then, yeah.
You better come on and ride off your good name and your red beans and rice.
Right.
I'm not mad. So, yeah, as we start to just wind down, I think my last question for you is, when you look back over the last few years leading up to where you are now, are you able to see how far you've come? And I ask you that because last season of the podcast, the last episode, I was interviewed. And when I listened back to the episode and I listened to a lot of the stories I was telling, I didn't realize or just put it together until I heard it in that format that I had really come so far from some of those things where I started. And so I wonder, as you think about it now, are you able to see all of the progress you've made?
I am. When I go back and I look at my tax returns from 2002 until now,
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, I made some leeway. I remember when I was living with my mom, in my first year, like out of high school, I made like $7,000.
Yeah.
And shout out to moms for like not kicking me out. I always pay rent, so my mom's the best. But yeah, them tax returns, that's the proof.
Yeah.
For me, it's really hard to soak in the wins.
How come?
I think it's a personality thing. Like my mom would be like, "Son, you're the best," and I'm like, "Well, I know there's some stuff that I don't do well," and a part of that is taking on the praise and accolades when they come in.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of, I guess, maybe demanding me or whatever, but I can't really celebrate those wins. My brother has a bottle of, like, the XO Hennessy, like the really good stuff. And he calls me up. He's like, hey, like, you should come have a little of this with me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, I don't have nothing. I haven't earned it. I haven't earned that yet. And I don't know. I keep telling myself that. I don't know if I ever will if I keep saying that. So sometimes it's hard for me to celebrate because I'm like, I feel like I haven't done enough yet. And I know that's not true.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing, right? I feel like, the success is kind of what you make it. So
yeah, I
know I've been successful. And it's just sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of really, really appreciate that, for me at least. Mm-hmm. Even when I did the Kelly Clarkson show last year, that was like...
Well, okay then.
That was...
How did that happen?
That was amazing. I was granted a grant opportunity from the Feed the Soul Foundation. Mm-hmm. And, they picked one of the contestants that won the grant. And I got a chance to, interview with Kelly. And that was cool. Like in that moment, that was amazing. But I also, too, in my brain, I was like, have I really earned this? I'm not sure yet. And I know I've done great work. I know, my friends that cook high-end, they're like, nah, dude, you're killing it. And it's still hard for me to take that. Like, yeah, like I'm winning.
Well, do what you need to do to take it in, because the food is good. And as important as the food being good, the word on the street about your food and you seems to be good as well.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
That's my favorite part. Like when people that look like me be like, it's good, there's a little extra little.
The food is seasoned too?
That's like getting like an extra tip. You know what I mean? I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Why is, I saw you at the farmer's market, mm-hmm. and it looked like you were just in your element. What really drives you? You talked about it on your podcast about the open space and you're around farmers markets. What about that culture attracts you to the farmers markets?
It's a very experiential thing, right? And to me, it just cuts across so many demographics, because anyone, for the most part, can get access to some pot of dirt, piece of land, backyard, something where you can grow something, whether it's just basil or, onions or whatever it is, right? So to me, it's this thing that equalizes everyone's opportunity to experience what it's like to grow something and then eat it, right? And so to me, the farmer's market is the next iteration of that, right? You didn't grow it, but these people did, and now they're here and they're turning it into all these other things. So I like, one, that aspect of it is, to me, it just cuts across so many demographics as far as food accessibility. And then I think the second part of that is it gives so many makers a chance to get in front of the community, right? Because everybody's not spending their day perusing social media for food like I am. So some people just, they don't know about you unless they see you and literally trip over your product, right? Yeah. So when I think about, Teas with Meaning, when I think about the final sauce, when I think about That's My Jam, when I think about baby bean pie, and a lot of the businesses here that have become really popular and people know about them, they're at the farmers market. They're putting in that week in and week out sweat equity. Doing these pop-ups are not easy. It's physically taxing. You are outside usually dealing in weather conditions. So it's people making things and then having a direct link to the community. You're not relying on marketing. You're not relying on advertising per se, but you're relying on making that in-person human touch. People can taste the product. They can get to know you. And I think that's the beginning of forming long-lasting customer relationships.
Definitely.
And then I could just go eat up. Right. I'm just walking from stall to stall, trying this. There's a little bit of that. So, you go to a restaurant, you only have what's on the menu, right? Or you cook at home, you only have what you made. But over the course of the day, if I wanted to have bean pie, there it was. If I wanted oysters, there it was. I could walk a little bit down. Cuban food is there. Then there's coffee. So I could kind of have a tour of foods courtesy of the farmers market.
Nice. I love that. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you one more question.
Yes.
I'm always curious from a guest perspective. I never use the word customer. I feel like Walmart has customers. We have guests. I like to say guests.
Okay. I've been both.
We're inviting you in.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about people? Let me say this. What are your thoughts about black people who, I won't say don't support black-owned business, but who don't necessarily acknowledge that those businesses are in the space? Do you think that we're obligated as people to do that? Or what are your thoughts about that?
I think that Black aside, right, and then I'll bring it back to Black specifically. I think Black aside, people are going to highlight businesses based on their experience, right? I think that not that, entrepreneurial journeys are new for Black people by and large, not saying that at all. But there's definitely, I feel, a light on it that maybe is brighter than it has ever been on Black folks, particularly in the food space, fronting their own business. And I think with that, it's amazing to be able to throw down in the kitchen and to really make all of these things. But you have to have some pulse, some finger on the pulse of the business aspects as well, right? Who are the people? Because you're only one person. If you cook, you can't do all the things at once. So when you're cooking and the people are doing like the front of the house servicing, what are those people like to interact with, right? If people have commentary about the food and sometimes it comes across nice and sometimes it's not, how does that get received? How do people respond to that? Right. Are you able to make concessions for people who might need it? Right. Even little things like, hey, I'm going to buy, like yesterday, this was a perfect example at the farmer's market. There was someone there who was selling lamb products because they raise and butcher lambs at their farm. And I was there working the pop-up with a friend of mine or working the farmer's market with a friend of mine, but I wanted lamb, right? That I could pay for it and they would hold it to me until the complete end, right, so that I didn't have to think about my meat thawing out because I didn't have a cooler. Right. I was there in a working capacity. So just the little service things, when people reach out to your Instagram page or whatever measure you give them to reach out, right? Don't DM me, email me. You see that a lot, right? Right. And then you email them and you can't get a response. Right, but you see them posted on Instagram.
Oh, I'm the worst. Folks,
you need an admin.
I do.
Yes,
I need help. I need people to understand. There's just one Mr. Gumbo. I got two. I got two little Mr. Gumbos in training. Mm-hmm. But I need some empathy.
Oh my God, we would. Oh God, we were just having this conversation yesterday because I think the point that I was getting to for the question you asked me is, your structures are as important as your product. The experience people are having almost will supersede the food. Because I've had a lot of good food at places like, I'm not going back there because you got too much happening. Right? And I don't like the experience I'm having when I go there. So I think that is the key to really having Black people buy into publicly and front-facing, buy into other Black businesses, is we really need to dial in on the experience part of it, particularly around the food, because that's what food is anyway. It's an experience purchase. Once you eat it, it's gone.
Yeah.
But it's the experience that you have left. But to the point of needing help, and it's just one Mr. Gumbo, and I can't do all the things. I'm really learning that lesson up close and personal. My West Coast bestie, Marquita, shout out to That's My Jam. She's amazing, and I'm getting to see this. She's the one person making the product, right. And you have email, and you have to do branding, and you're doing social media, and you're doing shipping, and there's all of these things happening.
Her setup looks freaking amazing, by the way. I told her I know another person selling jams.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to go see her. And she's like, no, I want to sell my jam in these 3-pack. I said, stop talking and go see That's My Jam. I haven't even had the jam yet, and I'm like, I need every bit of it.
You haven't?
I haven't had it yet.
Oh, you gonna get some?
Yeah, I need every jam.
Okay.
Por favor.
Yes.
But let me ask you this.
Yes.
When I'm walking through a space and I see someone that looks like me, I used to do this at conferences. I would like make sure I talk to every black person.
Yes.
And I tell you, I've had some really interesting experiences where people are like, why in the hell are you talking to me? And I've had some, thank you for that. And I get, I see it every week where I don't really expect it, but I appreciate, even if you're not buying anything, there are people that walk by and just give me one of those.
Yeah, the nod.
Give me the nod. And like, I see you. And like, to me, I appreciate that.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that? Do we think we should be doing that, or saying, hey, like acknowledging that we're in the space? Can people really recognize that I'm a black-owned business? Because my cashier happens not to be black. He's my nephew, but he just don't have no melanin.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, when I was there, if I came in knowing it was black, but if I did not know that, I would have got a black vibe, right? I saw the food, I saw what was on the menu, I could see the people standing back there cooking. So to me, it registered, immediately as, oh, this is a black-owned business, right? But I think it's very important for us to do that, particularly even if you're not going to buy, right? You don't have to buy. You can sample, right? For people who have samples, you can sample the product. You might not buy for another 3 months. Right. Somebody might not be buying gumbo today, and you have your family come in town and you don't feel like cooking. You have your gumbo in prepackaged frozen, containers. So it's the relationship building, right? So that if and when I felt like I wanted some gumbo, that would be the first association that I make, because I've seen you. Hey, good morning. How you doing? You give the nod. So I think making space and making it an intentional move to just connect, say hi, stop by, particularly when it's black people seeing other black people in these front-facing business roles. It's everything, because it's not easy. And it's not easy. I'm speaking from conjecture at this point. I don't know this to be true, but I would think it's not easy in the Bay. This is not like places like in the South where it's like every black person has a business. Yep. If you're on here, you had to get on.
Yep.
You didn't just fall into being on. So I give a lot of respect to the black-owned food businesses that are out here, because this shit is competitive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good food out here, and people don't have to patronize. Just because you black, your food can be trash.
Yep.
And but for y'all that out here doing it, much respect, much respect. Where can people find you and the gumbo?
Well, I don't want anyone finding me. I'm very private. No, I'm joking. I'm like, I tell people, I was like, if that's why I don't have no enemies, because you can find me every Sunday at the Outer Sunset Farmers Market from 9 to 3.
Okay.
I am there, unless I'm on assignment somewhere else, but I'm very rarely not there. I'm always there.
Okay.
So that's a good place to stock me. Do we do pop-ups every once in a while at different places? We're at the Ferry Building sometimes on Thursdays. We may be doing a new farmers market, Soma West. That's a potential, but nothing solidified yet, so I don't want to shout that out yet.
Okay.
But we do a lot of posting on social media, so Instagram's a good place.
Mm-hmm. Where can they find you on Instagram?
Gumbo Social on all platforms.
Okay.
So Twitter's good, a black Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. the hashtag Gumbo on Black Twitter is crazy. We're on TikTok as well.
Okay.
Facebook. Yeah, I think we're on the big four. So Gumbo Social on all platforms, and yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if you haven't had it, go get it. I recommend, of course, the gumbo. I mean, you're going to Gumbo Social, so get that. Whether you eat it there or take it home. But go and definitely get the red beans and rice. That's my personal recommendation. I could change my recommendation because I'm going back to get the breakfast sandwich. So that might be my new recommendation after I've had it. But I'm so glad that you came and talked to me today.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's episode 3. If you want to follow me on IG and get to know me a little better, I am at Kaja versus Kaja. That's KAHJA_VS_KAHJA. It's the end of the episode. I'll see y'all for episode 4. Peace.